Thank you for joining us for another episode of Celebrity Catwalk. On today's show, we've got a guy who's ridden killer whales, a photographer who's added jewelry designer to his resume, and some furry fashionistas. He's hosted Animal Planet's Good Dog You for 10 years, and most recently can be seen in Chase commercials, which features a rescue dog, by the way. What a treat to have animal trainer extraordinaire Joel Silverman here with us. Thank you, Joel, for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay, even before we start talking about dogs, we have to talk about you riding killer whales and working with dolphins.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, you know, I was about 16 years old, and my parents used to take me to SeaWorld down in San Diego in my teens, and I would watch the people ride the killer whales, the trainers, and I would be fascinated. I was 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old every summer, and finally, when I was 15 years old, I was told my mom and dad, I said, you know, I want to do that, and they're like, well, go and talk to the people there at the personnel department. So I talked to them, and how do I do that? And they said, well, you got to get hired as a, you got to get your foot in the door, and you maybe get hired to pick up trash. So
Trash?
Trash. So
Wait, you picked up trash?
I picked up trash. So I graduated early from high school just to move down to San Diego to pick up trash, just to bug the director of training every single day. So hopefully he would hire me, and he eventually did.
Wow.
That's what happened.
Those are your humble beginnings.
Those are the very, very humble beginnings. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so one might not think whales or dolphins are affectionate or even give the same emotional response that a dog might. Is this true? They
do, actually. And one of the similarities in working with dogs and marine mammals is that there are two things that they have in common. One is about the bond and the relationship, the trust. They love that bond and the relationship and trust. Secondly, is we understand that all of them are different. When you work with a whale, no two whales are the same. And when you work with dogs, we all know that no two dogs are the same.
They're not.
And that's what makes it so special and unique. But they do have a lot of emotions. And when you do develop a great relationship with the animal, especially with the dog, I tell people all the time, you get your dog in a place where your dog wants to please you, wants to make you happy, training is 100% easier. It's the same thing working with a marine mammal, working with a sea lion, a dolphin, or a killer whale. You develop the relationship, you develop the bond with that animal, and that bond, and the animal not only works for the fish or the positive reinforcement, but also works for you as a person, and that's the most important thing.
Can you please explain your mantra, bond with your heart, train with your brain?
Bond with your heart, train with your brain. That is now a registered trademark, and with bond with your heart, train with your brain, I was getting ready to do I speak at a lot of conferences across the nation, dog conferences, dog training conferences, and I was speaking at a big one and in 2012, and I was actually writing this, and I said, you know, I don't know how I came up with bond with your heart, train with your brain. I don't know exactly what happened, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk a lot about what I wanted it to be. Bond with your heart, develop a relationship with the animal, develop the love with the animal, but train the animal with your brain, because I see so many people when they work, when they come to somebody's house and the dog is jumping up, they say, oh, he's so cute, he's so cute, he's so cute. And they still let the dog jump up. Or he's barking and everybody's, oh, he's so barking, you know, and they have the high-pitched voice and the dog barks more. And it's like, oh, he's so cute, you know. But the bottom line is that you're not really bonding with your heart, training with your brain. You're kind of bonding with your heart, you know, at the same time. So what I tell people, so bond with your heart, that means develop a relationship with the animal.
Which they already have.
Exactly, the bond and the trust. We want you to, in whatever you do, if it's hugging the animal, it's kissing the animal, whatever you do to develop that bond, that's great, that's awesome. But train with your brain. Train what's right for that particular animal, because what's going to be right for that dog is going to be different than other dogs, you know.
So you're saying to separate the emotions, just do it in an objective kind of way.
Good wordage. I could not have said it better. Separate the emotions.
Get your emotions out of it.
You could be a dog trainer.
So is there such a thing as an untrainable dog?
Not really. I tell people all the time, because I grew up as a Hollywood animal trainer, and people have always said to me, they're like, how do you know what to do on the set, and what to tell a director you can and can't do? And the art to being a good animal trainer, I think, is knowing when to raise or lower the bar. If you're working with a really awesome golden retriever who's been working on the set for 8 years and does a lot of behaviors, you can raise that bar, keep that bar pretty high. But if you're working with an Afghan who's they're not known for being the smartest dogs, okay, and you know that he's never been on the set before, you know when to lower the bar. And so, so the bottom line is, in answer to your question, you just have to know when you're working with a dog what to expect from that particular dog. It might be to where a dog that's come from an abusive situation, I'm not going to expect a lot from this dog because he came from an abusive situation. So I'm not going to expect what I would expect with a dog that just I adopted that's just got a great personality.
Right.
So
it's just like with any training program, you just lift it, you just advance them periodically and make sure that they keep getting higher and higher.
Exactly. Training is all about steps and having goals of what you want to accomplish and just basically setting reasonable goals for yourself. And this is what I tell people all the time in my videos, my TV show, my books. It's really setting small goals for yourself. And in that situation, that's a perfect example. If you're just going to set a small goal and say, you know what, it's a different type of dog. I'm not going to expect too much today, and this is what I'm going to do.
Small steps.
Small steps.
So along those same lines, is a dog ever too old to teach them new tricks? Can senior dogs be taught?
You can always teach an old dog new tricks. I tell people all the time, and I prove that wrong. I mean, dozens of times, as I've adopted 8-year-old dogs from animal shelters, humane societies, and rescue groups that have never been trained before, and then it ended up being great dogs. So you can always teach an old dog new tricks. I will say that one of the biggest problems that people do have when they have an older dog that maybe is not trained is that they don't have a great relationship with their dog. They don't have a great training relationship with their dog. It's not really about the dog learning. A lot of times it's about the owners. And so what I tell people all the time is, you need to take a couple steps back and you need to develop a great relationship with your dog. That's what it's all about.
How does a dog guardian or dog owner know when it's time to train the dog?
How do they know when it's time to train? I think the dog is going to dictate to you when it's time to train the dog. If not, allow Joel to dictate to you.
Yay, Joel!
When I tell people all the time, I say, develop a relationship, develop the bond, develop the trust. Get to know your dog, develop a relationship, develop the trust. Once you have that trust, now it's time to start training your dog. Dogs love to learn. I don't care if your dog just learns to sit, to stay. He doesn't have to be a movie dog or anything like that. But just teaching your dog just some basics, they like it. And there are some dogs we call high prey drive dogs. These are very, very busy dogs. They come from working breeds. They love to work, whether it's training, whether it's doing agility, they're doing fly ball, doing these exercises. They love to, and if you don't train them and teach them, they're going to teach themselves some really bad behaviors that you're not going to like tearing apart your couch,
So how feasible is it, me as a person who's never trained a dog before, how would I fare training any dog?
You would do great. I mean, a lot of it's your personality. It's personality. You have a great personality. I can totally tell you. You've been in for a couple minutes now.
You hear that, Mom and Dad?
No, but a lot of it's the personality. If you have a good personality, if you have a good love and desire, for the animal's going to pick up on that. The people that are a little bit recluse or whatever, and don't really have that relationship. It's not to say that they're not going to train the dog. They will train the dog. But the people that really have that personality, that outgoing personality, because what's going to happen is the dog does something right, and if you're, just that personality you just showed me right there, and the dog does something right, you're like, good boy, and you have your voice or whatever, and he puts his feet up on you. The treat's great, but that reward that he got from you, that hug and that good boy,
the reassurance.
That's huge. Yeah, that's really, really big, especially for a lot of these high prey drive dogs and dogs that are come from working breeds and things like that.
Tell me about the Chase commercials.
Well, the Chase commercials, it was great. I was
were all over New York City.
Yes, I still am in all the banks. But what happened was in October of last year, they had called me and they said, "Hey, listen, we're doing a campaign, and we're going to use you. We're going to use a guy that Olympic fencing champion, Tim Morehouse, and then we're going to use the Rockettes, and we're going to use Serena Williams, and we're going to shoot some different commercials." And long story short, we shot them in January, and it was awesome. It was just probably the best, one of the best weeks of my life, and it was awesome. We shot right here in New York, in the Soho area, And we shot, and Duchess was in the commercial, my dog, and they had talked about the end of the commercial, and they wanted the dog to do something kind of cute or whatever, and I said, well, I can train her to, get the receipt live. I said, we could literally have her on the ground and have the receipt come out, have her pick it up and look at the camera and then leave frame, and I know we can get that shot all in one shot. So they're like, really? I'm like, so I actually videotaped it back in Reno, and I put on videotape, and I said, here you go. And they're like, oh, it's cool. That's how we'll end the commercial. So that was kind of an interesting. But Dutch was in the commercial. She was awesome, and it was just a great time, and it's just been it's a great campaign. It's great to be part of. It really, really is.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joel, for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You can learn more about Joel's techniques and events at www.joelsilverman.net.
I'm just catching up on some reading in Time Out New York, and look what I find.
Well, thank
Andrew
you.
Warner.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. This is amazing.
I'm so excited you're here. So you do so many things. You are a fashion photographer. You work on major campaigns like the one you just recently did with Escada.
Yes.
You've photographed Cher, the Manning brothers, among many others, and now you have a fashion line. So tell us what your creative inspiration is.
Well, I've been doing photography full-time for about 5 years now. I shoot everything from fashion, editorial, product shots, lots of events of all scales, and I really get to foster my creative passion for photography doing this everything I do. I mean, I get to go out there with a camera and be myself and capture that moment that people are living and then get to reflect upon. So it's a really fun job that I've been able to make into a career, and thankfully people embrace it.
They do. You are everywhere. Everywhere I turn around, I see some of your work, and it's all very beautiful.
Thank you.
So you discovered your passion for photography in college or right after?
It was kind of an accident, really. I went to school originally for musical theater, and I realized I couldn't dance to save my life. You have to be a triple threat, and I wasn't that threatening. So I was like, oh, what else do I really like to do? And I picked up a camera because I've always enjoyed that. And then over the course of the next few semesters, I escalated and really fostered my passion for photography. And once I graduated, moved home, got a professional camera, and just really went after what I love to do, starting in nightlife and then raising my bar to different society events, and it helped with organically snowballing into where I am today. And I'm so grateful for everyone along the way who's helped to do that, because you can't do everything by yourself. You need a team, and you need people to believe in you.
Exactly, and I think it's great. It's such a great life story, coming of age story, because you found your passion and you've built upon it, and you're doing really well here in New York.
Thank you.
And so you said you did society events and you photographed those, and is that where you kind of were inspired to start Flirt?
Yes. I mean, like I mentioned, I do a lot of black tie events or red carpets, galas, everything from the Met to opera to ballet, and really the artistic scene. Like I said, it all goes back to my roots in theater. And when I'm photographing the red carpet, guys walk in tuxedos, especially for black tie. It doesn't really matter if Tom Ford made your tuxedo. I mean, of course it does. Or Zara. I mean, the overall look is more or less the same. Love the designer things, but those are more in the details. That being said, as a photographer, I wanted to give the subjects something to make them pop.
Yeah.
Because for black tie, going back to the fundamentals of fashion, it's limited to maybe a black bow tie, a black tuxedo, and a white dress shirt.
Yes.
Why not be able to interject some of your personality and some creativity of your own individualism into your outfit? Because that's what more or less fashion is about. You want to express yourself and your desires and whatever you like onto your outfit to show who you are. And I mean, I just really came across, well, pocket squares have been done.
Yes.
And can be folded into only so many different shapes. Socks are great, except black tie, you kind of have to show your, cover your ankles. And what else is there in terms of a tuxedo's real estate that you could really play with? So the lapel flower was something that I always enjoyed. And when I was looking to find something on the market, I couldn't really find anything that really fit my needs. So something that's really colorful in a silhouette or materials that I like that exemplified luxury, and I was like, you know what, I need to make something.
Yes.
So I went out, got some fabric, and made something.
They're beautifully designed, and you can see the
Thank you.
craftsmanship. So each one is handmade.
Each one is handmade in New York.
I love that.
It's so important. Why take things overseas when they can be done?
Right.
Hand assembled in New York, handcrafted, built,
Yeah.
and sold.
I love that. And
Thank
so you
you.
have different silhouettes, you have different fabrications. Can you tell us about some of the fabrications you work with?
Sure, I have everything from a line in burlap, which is a nice rose silhouette.
Yes.
And those are super popular. I mean, I've had everyone from Alec Baldwin to
Wow.
who else has worn these? I mean, I think on that ad, if you turn back to your fall issue of Time Out New York, and that's amazing. That is one of the new lines, which is upcycle denim, but we can get to that in a second.
Okay, great.
So burlap, which is a rose silhouette, fashion people such as Robert Verdi
Yes.
have been wearing them, Philip Bloch, James Aguiar,
Yes.
Ken Downing from Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf. So lots of people in the industry
Yes.
have taken notice, and I'm so excited about that.
So what about our viewers if they really want to run out and get flirted? How should they best find your product?
Absolutely. If they're looking to best find the product,
Yes.
they're sold right now on my website, which is
Okay.
fleuredpins.com, FLEURDPINS.com. You know, a little plug there. But also, I mean, it's all about your individual style. So let's say a lapel flower isn't for you, find something that is. However, of course, I would love for my lapel flowers to be for you, because it doesn't matter what your personal style is, there's always something out there. And if there isn't, find it and make it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being here and
you.
sharing your time and talent with us. And I can't wait to see what the future has in store for you. Big thanks.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Twice a year, Celebrity Catwalk produces Paws in the City, a weekend in NYC filled with fun, furry fashionistas and pet adoptions. Let's take a look at some footage from our last show at the Copacabana, courtesy of Princess Ellie.
We'd like to welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the iconic Copacabana. We'd like to remind everyone to stop by and have some wonderful pasta courtesy of Chef Jesse. Check out Q's Body Butter, eco animal friendly lotions. We have two incredible rescues here, 100% volunteer based. Denise from Zero and Will T-shirt are very precious and so celebrity. For this reason, engage us today. We'd like to get things started. This is your last call. Let's go. Let's get things started with the no fee at Rose. Wonderful.